AKASHVANI, Bengaluru. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Yuvavani. Tonight, you will listen to a discussion, the challenges of peer pressure and how to deal with it in college. The participants are Nikhil, Prakash, Heera, and Gowri, Jagadish.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned into AKASHVANI Bangalore, and I'm your host Nikhil Prakash. For today's show, hold tight as we dive right into the intricate world of peer pressure, exploring its impact on individuals, specifically the youth at the varsity level. I'm delighted to be joined by my peers, Gowri Jagadish and Heera Hari, pursuing journalism honors at Christ deemed to be University, who will share their insights and experiences on the said topic. Let's kick off the conversation. Peer pressure is something we all face at some point. How do you guys define peer pressure? And what does it look like in your lives?
Certainly. Peer pressure refers to the impact that individuals within your social circle, such as your friends or classmates, can have on the choices you make and your behavior. Positive peer pressure may encourage beneficial actions, while negative peer pressure typically involves influence that leads to undesirable decisions. Honestly, I would term peer pressure as a social dynamic that can significantly shape one's experiences and choices, either fostering positive development or even presenting challenges.
Adding on to what Gauri said, I see it as a pressure where people conform to the norms or behaviors of a particular group, ignoring their own beliefs. It's like walking in a tightrope between FOMO, fear of missing out, and staying sane. You want to join the cool crowd, but not lose your soul in the same process. It's all about knowing your limits, saying no without guilt, and finding your tribe of true friends who make you feel comfortable. Basically, be you, be a little braver you.
Great perspectives, both of you. Can you also share some personal experiences where you felt the impact of peer pressure?
This is from my college life. So, my two very close friends in college, the three of us, we tend to hang out often together. At the start of every month, we decide on saving up and we decide to not spend a lot of money, especially eating from college. Every lunch break, we decide to go back to PG and eat from there. But unfortunately, our PG doesn't serve the best food at all times. So if one of us decide to stay back on campus and eat from campus, it kind of influences the other two, and that eventually leads to us spending money. So yeah, I think that's one way I'd like to say how peer pressure affects me.
Definitely, a lot of college students can relate to it. Hira, do
Yeah.
you have something to say on this?
Yeah, well, for me, the recent experience that I felt affected by peer pressure is when I realized half of my classmates, they're doing something apart from their classes, they're doing freelancing or internships somewhere or the other. So at some point, I feel like I'm missing out on all that. I'm not doing as much as I should be doing. And then I started applying in a lot of places to like freelance and do internships and all, which is kind of like bombarding. At the same time, it's all because of the peer pressure that I had to face.
It's very much relatable. At some point in life, the competitive spirit to achieve excellence in academics, especially factored by conventional pedagogical patterns, tends to trigger a student's mental and emotional well being.
Yes, the pressure to excel in college is real. Like sometimes it feels like everyone around you is on a fast track to excel academically. For instance, when I joined college during my first year, the urge in me to score well and attain a good GPA was so much that I followed a culture of sacrificing my sleep and then pulling on all nighters in the pursuit to achieve a perfect GPA. But not gonna lie, the burnout was inevitable. And then eventually I realized that I have to listen to my body and mind and set realistic goals and prioritize my well being.
Well put together, Hira. College is a mix of freedom and influence. You've found the balance by surrounding yourself with friends who share values and support each other's individuality and much more. Well, it's tough sometimes. You want to fit in, But at the same time, one has to learn to stay true to themselves. It is essential to have a strong sense of identity. Moreover, it's crucial to maintain open communication, understanding each other's struggles and providing guidance without judgment helps build trust, making it easier for one to resist negative influences. Now, turning to Gowri, what are your thoughts on this profound aspect of peer pressure, which revolves around body image and dress style that has become quite a thing these days?
I believe peer pressure related to body image and dress style can significantly impact individuals. This is particularly seen, especially in the age of social media where comparisons are prevalent. And I think this pressure often stems from a desire to fit societal standards or even gain acceptance within a particular group. For example, many teenagers feel compelled to conform to popular beauty ideals, which is showcased on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, leading to trends like specific clothing brands, body types, or even makeup styles becoming pervasive. And yes, considering instances where young people might feel pressure to conform to a certain body image, engaging in extreme diets or pursuing cosmetic procedures to match certain perceived standards, which are usually set by influencers or celebrities. Dressing in a certain way, influenced by social media trends, can also lead to conformity where individuals may prioritize fitting in over expressing their unique style. Hence, I believe it's essential for individuals to recognize as well as resist such pressures, focusing on self acceptance and promoting diverse representations of their beauty. And according to me, encouraging a culture that celebrates individuality rather than conformity can help mitigate these negative effects of peer pressure on body image as well as their dress style.
Well, adding on to what Gauri said right now, fashion can be a powerful tool for self expression and confidence building. Experimenting with different styles or finding what makes you feel comfortable is sometimes fun. But then the constant pressure to conform to certain trends and unrealistic beauty standards can be incredibly damaging. Social media often portrays a narrow and heavily edited version of reality, fueling insecurities and comparisons. This does, in my opinion, lead to body image issues, low self esteem, unhealthy behaviors, and distorted eating and excessive spending on clothes.
Now, it's time to address the elephant in the room. Boys and girls, if you were to blame someone for ruining your college life expectations, I would not hesitate to say it's the Bollywood fantasizing romantic relationships. I guess my friend Gowri might have a lot to share on this.
I love how I have to answer this question. Navigating college life in general is usually challenging, especially when it comes to romantic expectations. Bollywood's portrayal of idealized relationships has definitely contributed to these unrealistic fantasies, and I personally feel that this often sets the stage for disappointment. On the other side, friends can inadvertently play an important role in this by acting as matchmakers, leading to awkward or compromising situations. And this pressure can sometimes push individuals into commitments they might have not considered otherwise. And I think it's not just about having to commit to things because of your friends, but I've also seen instances where certain introverted friends of mine have been forced to confess to their crush. And of course, it didn't go well. So it is necessary to resist succumbing to peer pressure and remember that things like love and romance cannot be rushed. Relationships are dynamic, and it's essential for you to know to just go with the flow, recognizing that there are certain phases and changes, and these are natural. Finding a balance between the societal expectations, your personal desires, and the flow of relationships can, of course, be challenging, but ultimately, it all contributes to a more authentic and fulfilling college experience.
To that, I would add follow your heart, not the crowd. True love doesn't need peer pressure to bloom.
Going ahead, guys, do you feel the pressure to join those late night parties? How do you all handle this circumstance arising out of peer pressure?
Honestly, I get it too, but I have found that saying no and suggesting alternatives always helps. Like proposing a movie night or doing anything else that lets you express yourself would be more meaningful than going for late night parties.
I agree with Hira on that because I think I've learned to set clear boundaries. It is, of course, difficult, but I feel like if it doesn't align with my priorities or values, it is necessary for me to politely decline. And it's also about knowing what's important to you at the end of the day.
Yeah, and building a support system is very crucial there. Like surrounding yourself with your friends who respect your choices and who don't push you into things actually matters.
That makes sense. But going back to what you had mentioned earlier, Hira, about FOMO, which is fear of missing out, how do you deal with that? Because sometimes I feel like I'm missing out on experiences and that doesn't really sit well with me.
Well, even I get that too. But then every time I remind myself that missing out one event doesn't really define my entire college experience. It's all about how I make a balance between the choices that I want to make for myself and the choices that my friends want for me.
True, and I think one should definitely focus on the quality of their experience rather than the quantity. But again, yeah, missing a party isn't the end of the world, but building meaningful connections should be more important than that.
Yeah, valid. Plus, I feel self reflection actually helps. Knowing what you genuinely enjoy and finding like minded people who would actually help you compact FOMO. And it's completely okay to miss out on things that aren't your vibe.
Thank you, Hira. I will try implementing some of these strategies. It's just challenging when everyone around you seems to be doing something.
Well, we have all been there. It gets easier over time. And trust me, Gauri, just stay true to yourself and you'll find your own balance.
Now, let's talk about the negative impacts of peer pressure. Hira, Gowri, how do you think peer pressure can affect someone negatively?
Well, for starters, it can lead to making decisions that aren't in line with your own beliefs or like interests.
Exactly. And I also feel like it can affect your mental health, which ultimately causes stress and anxiety if you're constantly feeling pressure to do things that you're not comfortable with.
How do you think individuals can protect themselves from these negative effects? To mention abuse of drugs, including smoking and drinking.
I think it's crucial to have a strong sense of self awareness and confidence in your own values. If you know who you are and what you stand for, you're less likely to be swayed by anyone up there.
I feel like building a support system is key too. Surrounding yourself with friends who respect your boundaries and encourage you to be yourself.
What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with peer pressure right now?
I would say trust your instincts and don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Your well being should always come first, and true friends would understand and respect whatever decision you take.
I think it's okay to be different because at the end of the day, you just have to embrace who you are, and the right people will always appreciate you for it.
It's clear that peer pressure can have significant impact, but with the right mindset and support, individuals can navigate these challenges successfully. That's all the time we have for today. Take care and stay true to yourselves.
You were listening to a discussion on the challenges of peer pressure and how to deal with it in college. The participants were Nikhil Prakash, Heera Hari, and Gowri Jagadish. This program was brought to you by AKASHVANI Bengaluru.